welcome to Mr. Otter Studio. Today I'm going to talk to you about pencils. How to know which pencil to use. There's so many different kinds of pencils, and when you go to the art store and you decide to buy one, it might be a little bit daunting to choose which one or which set you should choose, and why there's so many different kinds. But there is a difference between pencils, and knowing those differences can help you in your drawing. It definitely helps if you're using the correct tools for the job, whatever you're doing. When you open up a pencil set, there are varying degrees of lead. From hard lead, the HB is going to be the hardest, to the softest, and 8B is going to be the softest lead. Most of you are familiar with this pencil right here. This is an HB pencil. So this is the one that is in between the really light hard lead pencils and the darker soft lead pencils. So let's try these out. Let's see what is the difference between HB, B, and then these ones over here. Here is the 8B, 6B, 4B, 2B, just the B pencil, the HB, and then let's look and see what the 2H looks like. And I am pushing as hard as I can. Here you can see I've just drawn a straight line with them, and I can just show you really quickly. This is the 2H. This is if I was shading as hard as I could. And then this is the 8B. So both of these examples I'm pressing as hard as I can. When you're looking at H pencils, the higher the number, the harder the lead, so the lighter your lines are going to be. When you're looking at the B pencils, the larger the number, the softer it's going to be, and the darker it's going to be. So when would you want to use a hard leaded pencil versus a soft lead pencil? So the harder lead pencils, the 2H, the HB, those are going to be great for your sketches. The softer leaded pencils, like the 8B, those are going to be great for shading and dark lines. So now that you understand the difference between the pencils in this set and what you would use them for, sketching, shading. Now let's talk about these flat sketching pencils. These are awesome for creating dynamic lines, textures. These are great for blocking in shapes when you're doing a landscape, things like that. One thing that's cool about these as well is that when you sharpen them, you can use an X-Acto knife. If I use an X-Acto knife with this, I can get nice little cracks in it. I can kind of dig into it so that when I draw, it gives me this kind of a line. And the texture that you can get from these is incredible. Or you can smooth it down and make it flat, and it can give you a really thick line or a really thin line, depending on how you use it. So these also can give you cool texture if you're drawing in trees or stones. So I definitely would recommend this, especially if you sketch landscapes or if you're outside drawing things like that. And of course, there are mechanical pencils. There are sketch and wash pencils that you can actually use water with. They're water soluble, so you can paint the wash and smooth it out and fan it out, almost like a watercolor pencil. And there are watercolor pencils. I love using mechanical pencils, especially when I'm doing something that I'm going to ink over. However, there's lots of artists that use mechanical pencils to draw realistic drawings of things, and they get the texture and they're able to shade with them and create nice smooth drawings even with these sharp little points. All right, so now that you know the different kinds of pencils that are out there, and I'm sure there's more than this, how do you choose what pencil you're going to use? If you're going to be sketching, you want to use one of the harder lead 2B or H pencils, 2H pencils. If you're shading, use one of the B pencils, a 4B, a 6B is pretty dark. You can even get darker than that, and you can get lighter than a 2H. You can get way lighter than a 2H. The flat sketching pencils are great if you want to create dynamic lines. Also, if you're trying to block in areas and create texture, they're amazing. The mechanical pencils are awesome for creating drawings that you're going to be drawing over in pen. More of a precise drawing or an illustration that you plan on inking over, but you can also just use them for sketching as well. For a beginner, they're a little bit harder to shade with. But in the end, if all you have is your trusty HB number 2 pencil, then that will work. There are definitely some good reasons to get a few different pencils, and I hope that you learned some of them in this tutorial, but also that you've learned that you can draw with whatever you have available. So have fun drawing. Thank you so much for joining us on Mr. Otter Studio. I hope you have a wonderful day.